Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest episode of Maff's Movie Show. I'm your host, as always, Mid-Size Sedan. Shout out to anybody who's seen Old, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. If you know, you know. Today I want to talk about something. A trailer came out last week, the newest trailer for the newest adaptation of the book that people know as Dune. So the plan is to be made into two movies. This is the first one. This one's directed, and I assume the second one will be directed by Denis Villeneuve. He directed a bevy of great films to start: Prisoners, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, Enemy. He has a pretty flawless track record, if you ask me, and if you ask a lot of other film aficionados. So this movie stars Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Batista. The list goes on and on. Great cast, spectacular budget of over $200 million. It's Warner Brothers is putting a lot of stuff and money and resources into this movie. They're saying it's the Lord of the Rings of space. So it's deeply complicated source material from the book, and they're saying that it's really hard to adapt. My whole point for today's topic is this worth the venture, and what's going to happen if it fails? Because people are really hyping this up right now to be something. And the new trailer, I wasn't blown away by this, even and the other footage either. But I trust Denis Villeneuve. I trust everybody who's behind this picture, and I'm sure it's going to be epic cinema, and I can't wait to watch it in the biggest format possible. The way they're marketing it, though, is that they really want this to be a big success, and they want people of all audiences, mainstream, casual, and buffs, to really enjoy this and come together for it. I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying that it's gonna happen. It seems like, and I'm going based off of previous track records too. Blade Runner 2049 is one of the best movies of the past decade, but it didn't really do all that well. It found an audience. Definitely people who like the first Blade Runner with Harrison Ford like it, or even love it more than the first one, and people who don't really care about that movie have also found it. And it's a really, really interesting film. It's shot beautifully by Roger Deakins. If you haven't seen it and you like sci-fi, it's a no-brainer. But anyway, it didn't do well at the box office, and a lot of money was spent on that movie. I have a hard time believing people are going to go out and watch this. I don't think it's an Avatar situation where even though you have James Cameron at the helm, there was technology behind that. There was the way they marketed that. The way that what they were doing was like, this is never before seen. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have this experience in the theater. The 3D, when 3D was so big back then. I don't see what the selling factor is with Dune. Success in terms of the movie being good is pretty much a given. But I don't think everything else may work. And are they going to make the second part of this movie if it doesn't do well? Denis Villeneuve must have a great pitch. He must be a great pitcher of his ideas, and he's probably, I assume, to be a great collaborator and team player and all that, because how does this studio and how these studios keep funding his films with hundreds of millions of dollars when they don't do the best? Because the conversation on film Twitter, the greatest place in the world, it's not. The conversation is how big this movie appears to be. And film Twitter is excited for this movie. I'm excited for this movie. I just don't think the casual moviegoer cares about Dune. And if this movie makes less than $50 million at the box office, because it's being released on HBO Max 2, even though we've seen success for movies that are released on streaming and in theaters, some have failed, and a lot of headlines have made it seem like these failures are exacerbated in one way or another. But I'm wondering what happens going forward with the industry if a movie like this, with so much money behind it, doesn't do well. And especially this in The Matrix. I have no doubt that Matrix will probably do well in the theater. But Dune, there's a lot riding on this movie. Maybe the charming and dashing looks of a Timothée Chalamet will bring $100 million to the box office, but I doubt it. Going back into Denis Villeneuve, the name, he is an industry favorite. He is, without a doubt, one of the most talented directors in Hollywood right now. But I don't think if I mention his name to people that like my family or my girlfriend or anybody, if I just mention his name, I don't think they would really know who he is. As opposed to maybe a Christopher Nolan nowadays, where you mention him, and I think he is like a mainstream tentpole director now. because he's gotten to that point. He's broken through after the Batman movies. I'm glad that studios are taking a chance on projects with him still and giving him lots of money. But I just keep going back to the fact, is he going to go smaller scale after this? Or is he going to keep getting the opportunity to make crazy inventive projects? But it was just on my mind because the trailer came out and I heard unanimous praise. I watched it. I thought it's cool. Visually, it looks like it's on another level, which is no surprise because Blade Runner 2049 was on another level visually and sonically. Such an experience to watch. And even at home, just that music blares through the senses. But I really am curious to see, not from a visual perspective, not from a musical perspective, because Hans Zimmer's score sounds ace too. Are people going to connect with the story? That's really, and the characters. That's what it comes down to. Can this movie connect with audiences, and can it connect enough to be financially successful? And if that's the case, then I think we might be in for some really interesting stories from him moving forward. I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm also not buying that Avatars 2, 3, 4, and 5 are going to be incredible successes too from James Cameron. Even though he's proven people wrong time and time again. Titanic, it sounds corny as shit. The movie made billions of dollars. Then he made Avatar. Look at these tall blue people, like billions of dollars. So it's hard to judge sometimes. But I'm just not... Is it cynical? Is it something else? Is it just my jaded perspective? I just don't watch that trailer and go, you know what? Warner Brothers has a winner. I just don't see it. But I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, honestly. The only thing I do know is that those sandworms, objectively, they're rad. Also, if they ate Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet, it would probably be the equivalent of me picking up a crumb of a Chips Ahoy cookie and putting it in my mouth. Would have no effect on me. Why? I don't know if they're enemies, if they're friends, but like if you're this giant skyscraper-sized sandworm and you see these two little human beings, like what's that gonna do for you? That's not lunch. That's nothing. And we have come to the end of the show, and I want to know from you guys, what do you think of Dune? Are you excited for it, or are you feeling a little more pessimistic? And maybe not pessimistic, but on my side, cautiously optimistic. Do you think it's going to do well? And most importantly, the topic of today's show, do you think it's going to do well financially? Is it going to make a lot of money, or is it going to be a dud? Where do you stand on Denis Villeneuve's Dune? If you've gotten this far, thank you for watching. And if you haven't already, you could subscribe. You could ring that bell. So every time I make a video, it'll show up on your phone or on your iPad. And you go, hey, John made a new video. Let me go check it out and give him a view and give him a like so that he can continue making videos and not feeling sad about himself. Thank you again. I'll see you guys next week with a new topic and probably a sunburn because I'm going away for a few days. I'll see you later. Love you. Peace out. Bye.